Well, we're enjoying our time here in Texas, and I started to work on debarking all of this awesome redwood that I had collected while in California. As you can see here, I'm using a palette knife to do some debarking via scraping. I really love the way these knots look, and I want to try to incorporate them in my design a little bit. I also want to see if I can keep some of this bark on here. We had all of this beautiful live edge redwood that I had collected, but boy was it windy. I wanted to try and take care in order to save some of the bark on the outside, because you see here, if I pull it off, I would lose a lot of that beautiful color, and some of that pink color was really awesome, and I wanted to keep it for future pieces. Some of the pieces I did end up doing this way. Do you see this edge here? If I want to retain that color and that texture, I have to remove the material much slower, because before, when I ripped it off, it all came off. Here you can see what it looks like when it's off, and you get this beautiful red tone in the middle of the... Here I've got a power drill with a brush attached to the end of it that I'm going to use to slowly remove the material. As you can see here, I can slowly work away the bark so that I don't remove all of it at once. And this will allow me to keep some of that beautiful color intact when I eventually finish the wood. Here's an example of what it looks like with all of the bark removed. You sand it down and you get a beautiful live edge with the same color. Here's an example of what it looks like if I keep some of the bark on, and I'm going to sand it down a little bit more to try and retain that bark look. So here on this piece of countertop, you can see what it looks like after I've done some sanding after wire brushing. So I moved some of the material and then sanded on top of that to create this sort of soft edge. Over here is another example of that. And you can see how I get this beautiful transition from the white to the red color. As I flip this piece of wood over, you may notice that there are some lines running across it. Don't mistake that for wood grain. That was actually created by the saw at the sawmill. I said this is basically woodworker porn. Here you go. So pour a little bit of water on. By adding a little water, we're able to see what the wood grain is going to look like once we polyurethane. Well, so far this is what I've got done today. Some really pretty, this would be like a trim piece. I'll wait till later to pull it out. This is like maybe a little shelf or something. I try to leave as much of the redwood bark on the outside to get that cool contrast of tones. So like imagine it's like hanging like that. And you can, I don't know, put your jacket right there or something. This could be a cabinet face, drawer faces. This one I'm experimenting with. I left the saw marks on to see kind of what it looks like. But are you the greatest of all time? Everybody say hi to Romeo. Hi Romeo, how are you? He's so cool. He's real chill. Hi buddy. If anybody knows what kind of goat this is, shout out in the comments.